Have you ever heard of the ambitious Tom Smith?
I have, yeah, just this excerpt, though, not the full novel.
Right, exactly. And that's what makes it so interesting to me, at least. Even with this little piece, there's just so much to dig into.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, like getting a glimpse, like a sneak peek into this whole world. And right away, you meet this guy, Tom Smith, and he's dealing with some pretty heavy stuff emotionally, I mean.
Yeah, and that's what really grabbed me too, right off the bat. That whole thing about his divorce, it's like a contradiction. He regrets it, but it says it was a love marriage. I mean, doesn't that seem kind of, I don't know, unusual?
Totally, yeah, it's a paradox.
Yeah.
And the author, this is by Mohammed Raj Abdullah, right? The way he puts it, it's so deliberate. Like he's not hiding it. It's right there, almost like he's challenging us to figure it out.
So how do we even begin to unpack that? Is Tom still in love with his ex-wife? Is that what it's saying?
It could be, right? Like these lingering feelings, or maybe it's a deeper regret. Like, gotta remember, we're only seeing a tiny bit of this story. This could be just the start of a much bigger internal struggle that Tom's got going on.
True. True, good point. And then there's the title, right? The ambitious Tom Smith. That word ambitious really stands out, like makes you wonder, is his ambition connected to this regret he's feeling somehow?
Oh, for sure. That's a great observation. I think Abdullah is definitely pushing us to think about the cost of ambition. Like, what if Tom went after success, achieved his goals, but it cost him his personal life, and now that's why he's got this divorce he regrets?
That makes me think about some of Abdullah's other writing, like that book, What is Permanent Success? It feels like he's always exploring this idea that, like, just because you achieve things doesn't mean you'll actually be happy.
Exactly, yeah. There's always this deeper question in his work, like, what do we give up for our ambitions, and was it really worth it? And with Tom, in this excerpt, it's almost like he's starting to wonder, did all this ambition actually get me where I wanted to be in life? Like, truly.
I know, right? It's making me want to read the whole novel now and see how it all plays out, all this stuff with Tom. But even just with this small part, it feels like Abdullah is making us think about our own lives, our own ambitions, and relationships.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a really important point to take away from this. Even though it's just a tiny excerpt, it's this powerful reminder success isn't just one thing. It's not just about reaching a goal, it's about finding that balance in your personal life too.
It's so true. And, the excerpt even goes on to talk about how Tom got divorced 5 years ago and that he married his wife Zeba because he loved her. So, you know, it just makes you think about, like, what went wrong.
Yeah, like did his ambition get in the way of his love for Ziva? Did he prioritize work over his relationship? I think it's interesting that this author also has written about religion, too. Why am I a Muslim and not a Christian?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that one. I mean, it makes you wonder, do you think there's a connection there? Like, are we supposed to see Tom's story, this ambition, maybe he was raised one way, and now he's wondering if it was the right way?
That's really interesting. It's hard to say with just this little snippet, but it could be. Like maybe Abdul is trying to get us to think about how our upbringing, our values, how they influence the choices we make as adults. And for Tom, maybe those choices led to him losing something precious, like his marriage.
It's so thought-provoking, even though it's such a short piece. Like, this whole deep dive, it feels like a springboard for so many bigger conversations.
Totally. It's like Abdullah's giving us a puzzle piece, and now we're left to imagine the whole picture. Like, what happens to Tom next? Does he find love again? Does he ever figure out how to balance his ambition with his personal life?
Exactly. And I think that's what makes this excerpt so powerful. It raises all these questions about ambition, regret, and the choices we make in life, and then it leaves us to grapple with them on our own. Like, what constitutes permanent success, like the title of his other book?
Right. And does it always align with personal happiness? Or are we sometimes sacrificing things that truly matter in the pursuit of our goals? Kind of like maybe what happened to Tom. It's something for all of us to consider, I think.
Absolutely. Well, this has been a really interesting look into the world of the ambitious Tom Smith.
Yeah.
Even if it was just a glimpse, it's definitely given us a lot to think about.
Definitely. And who knows, maybe this deep dive will inspire some folks to seek out the full novel and see where Tom's story goes from here.
Great idea. All right. Well, thanks for joining me for another deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring.
Always.